On World News Tonight this Sunday, now comes the hard part, selling the Mideast peace deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces the hardliners at home. A murdered doctor. Was he the victim of an organized campaign of terror? And the former pro wrestler who's shaking things up in the political ring.
From ABC News, this is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Good evening, I'm Carol Simpson. The Mideast peace deal signed this week at the White House is a political victory for President Clinton. But for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat, it is an enormous political risk. The size of that risk was made clear today when Netanyahu returned home to Israel. ABC's Gillian Findlay is there.
Israel's prime minister returned home today to all the pomp and pageantry his government could muster. The man who once called the peace agreement dangerous now had to explain to Israelis why he's committed to making it work.
We received a very, very bad agreement that we have worked and labored to plug the holes in it, and we have plugged many of the holes in it, and to improve it.
Not enough, according to many of those who helped elect Netanyahu. In the West Bank today, Jewish settlers blocked roads to protest the deal. The demonstrations continued in Jerusalem tonight as settler leaders met to disown the prime minister and to call for new elections. But most analysts here now agree that's not likely to happen, at least not immediately. Weekend opinion polls show 3/4 of Israelis support the deal. Netanyahu is expected to get approval from both his cabinet and Israel's parliament. But then he has to implement it.
Experience has taught us that there's a tremendous gap between signing an agreement and implementing it, and that Netanyahu has an endless reservoir of preconditions and pretexts in order to avoid implementation.
And there are extremists on both sides who would be happy to see it fail. In exchange for giving up land, Netanyahu claims he got a better security deal. Palestinian police will now be monitored by the CIA. Insurance, Israel says, that they will crack down on Islamic militants. So far, though, the crackdown seems hardest on those Palestinians speaking out against the deal. 2 leaders were arrested for their comments this weekend. And in a further taste of what many fear is to come, a police attempt this afternoon to confiscate illegal weapons ended in a shootout and serious injuries. All of that in the first 48 hours of what the leaders proclaim is a new start for peace. Gillian Findlay, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat was in Cairo today to brief Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak on the peace deal. Arafat said the real test of Israel's commitment to peace will be seen in the coming weeks as the agreement is implemented. Netanyahu again today called for the release of convicted spy Jonathan Pollard. President Clinton has agreed to review the question of Pollard's release, but has made no commitments. Today, the former U.S. prosecutor who put Pollard in jail insisted again that he should stay there.
This would be the first time we have ever given up an American who betrayed his country. It should never be done. It will be a precedent that will live in the memory of the military, intelligence, and foreign policy establishment of this country. They will never live it down, and it will encourage espionage on behalf of allies.
Pollard is serving a life sentence in federal prison in North Carolina. Dr. Barnett Slepian will be buried tomorrow. He was murdered Friday night by a sniper. Police are investigating the possibility that Dr. Slepian was the victim of an organized terror campaign against doctors who perform abortions. ABC's Bill Redeker reports.
2 days after an assassin murdered Dr. Barnett Slepian, police in western New York and southeastern Canada have few clues and no suspects. But they believe Slepian is the latest victim of a 4-year campaign in this region against abortion providers on both sides of the border.
The situation is so strikingly similar, it certainly is a possibility that they're linked.
Slepian was killed Friday night by a sniper who fired a single shot through the doctor's kitchen window. 4 other abortion providers have been wounded by sniper fire since 1994, during the weeks leading up to Canada's Veterans Day on November 11th. Slepian had been warned about possible violence, but took no special precautions. In all, 6 law enforcement agencies from 2 countries are now involved in the investigation. Still, there is the feeling both here and in Canada that another abortion provider could be targeted in the coming weeks.
We don't feel safe just because we've had one. We don't feel that this group or organization or individual is necessarily finished.
An anti-abortion group that published Slepian's name on an internet page called the Nuremberg Files denied today that it was in any way responsible. But Neil Horsley, who operates the Christian Gallery website, readily admits that he personally scratched off Slepian's name only 9 hours after he was killed.
We hope that the day will come when those who are involved in the abortion business, killing God's children, will in fact be brought to trial.
That sort of religious zealotry was condemned today in several churches here. Reverend Thomas Yorty denounced those who use religion to justify violence.
The person who killed Dr. Slepian and those who support such acts while they presume God's blessing have little contact with a God of mercy.
Tomorrow, funeral services and a promise from police that they will reveal what, if anything, they have learned about who took Dr. Slepian's life. Bill Redeker, ABC News, Amherst, New York.
Vice President Al Gore joined thousands of Oklahoma residents today to break ground for a memorial to the 168 victims of the Oklahoma City bombing. A portion of the chain link fence, which has become a makeshift shrine, will be kept as part of the memorial. There's much more ahead on World News Tonight, Sunday. The Clinton factor, big money and big problems for some of his closest allies. More violence in Kosovo. NATO faces growing pressure to respond. And how do you turn a sheltered, antisocial computer geek into a smooth operator?
This is World News Tonight, Sunday. Brought to you by the new Silverado.
Chevy Silverado, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year. It's bigger, it's more powerful. It's the truck from Chevrolet.
For the 14 million women who worry about light to moderate bladder control, now there's new Double Protection Compose Panty and Pad system. The Compose Panty and Pad fit together for double protection. There's a super absorbent disposable pad, but the real difference is the separate washable panty. It gives you double protection with a quilted panel that won't let wetness through. So why worry? Get double protection with Double Protection Compose. Protection that goes beyond the pad.
Gosh, I just went to use the phone.
You say once you got back, your wife was gone.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
What?
Have you checked the hot enchilada?
Oh, no. Millicent gets terrible heartburn.
Not this time.
What's that?
Looks like the remains of an individually wrapped Pepcid AC chewable.
Introducing Pepcid AC Chewables, the first chewable to stop heartburn before it starts.
Millicent? Is that you?
Start living heartburn-free with new Pepcid AC Chewables.
The fall elections are just 9 days away. Tonight, we're going to take a look at some of the more interesting races. In California, Senator Barbara Boxer is in a tight re-election contest. President Clinton has been there all weekend hosting fundraisers. But as this race shows, where the president is involved, money isn't everything. Here's ABC's Mike Von Fremd.
With the president campaigning in California this weekend, Barbara Boxer's campaign hopes to raise $1 million more today. But her close relationship with the president has complicated her re-election campaign.
Yes, our president is paying a terrible price for his mistakes. And yes, we're dealing with it.
But Boxer was a defender of the president during the first 7 months of the Lewinsky controversy. The problem for Boxer is that all of this has an uncomfortably familiar ring. She was in the spotlight criticizing Justice Clarence Thomas in 1991 after allegations of sexual harassment by Anita Hill. And again in 1995, she went after Republican Senator Bob Packwood after he was accused of sexual harassment.
Why is it when an issue comes before the Congress that involves sexual misconduct, it is treated differently than any other case.
All of this has given Republican challenger Matt Fong political ammunition.
She has one standard for her friends and another standard for her opponents.
Republican heavy hitters have been joining Fong, sensing Boxer as vulnerable.
Matt Fong is the alternative to a very polarizing politician.
But campaign records revealed in today's San Francisco Examiner may polarize Fong's campaign. He donated $50,000 to a lobbying group that is against gay rights, a group that once advocated quarantining people with AIDS. Even before today's news, the most recent poll showed Boxer taking a slight lead.
Hang in there, you'll make it.
Whether she makes it or not will depend, of course, on voter turnout. 6 years ago, Boxer's supporters were energized over her role in the Anita Hill controversy. They may be less enthusiastic this time around. Mike Von Fremd, ABC News, San Francisco.
In that Senate race, the state's largest newspaper, the Los Angeles Times, endorsed Matt Fong today. In the governor's race, the Times endorsed the Democrat, Lieutenant Governor Gray Davis, over State Attorney General Dan Lundgren. If Davis wins, he'll become the first Democrat in 16 years to sit in the governor's chair. Today, the New York Times endorsed Democrat Charles Schumer in his challenge to Senator Al D'Amato. It's been a close and bitter campaign, and their final debate was no different.
New Yorkers can't trust Senator D'Amato, not only on his statements of last week, but over and over and over again.
Congressman has been running ads that says 18 years of lies. Now, are we lying when we say, Congressman, that you missed more votes, 110 votes this year on the floor of the House of Representatives than all but 5 congressmen in the United States? Is that true or not?
Let me say this.
Is it true or not?
Let me say this.
Is that a lie?
Schumer says he has a 92% voting record over his congressional career. And then in Minnesota, there's Jesse the Body Ventura, once one of the meanest villains on the pro wrestling circuit. Now he's running for governor. Here's ABC's Mark Mullen.
Who would have guessed that 47-year-old entertainer / politician Jesse Ventura,
how you doing?
A Reform Party candidate, a political underdog with the least amount of campaign money, a former professional wrestler, talk show host and actor,
I ain't got time to bleed.
And former mayor of a Minneapolis suburb, could shake up the Minnesota governor's race so much. But he has.
That's right, kids. We can beat those guys.
Ventura was considered little more than a novelty, getting only 10% of voter support in the polls.
But recently, his popularity more than doubled in this 3-man race, meaning that Jesse Ventura is a legitimate contender.
Ventura's surge in popularity has affected this man, 4-term State Attorney General Hubert Humphrey III. The Democrat had been the clear frontrunner. But now, because of Ventura, Humphrey is running virtually even with the Republican challenger, St. Paul Mayor Norm Coleman. Coleman concedes Ventura is doing well because some voters are fed up with traditional politicians.
People are fed up with the same old thing being rehashed day after day.
But many voters here like Ventura's blunt style.
You know, a lot of these candidates tell you that your vote is wasted if you vote for Jesse Ventura. That is pompous and arrogant.
And they like his mix of populist views. He supports the death penalty, but is pro-choice. He is against gun control, but supports medical use of marijuana.
People are hearing in my message that I'm one of them.
Critics think on Election Day, voters will choose a traditional candidate, but Ventura takes his race seriously and intends to win. Even if he doesn't, he has shown that someone who's not a career politician can impact the system. Mark Mullen, ABC News, Minneapolis.
When we come back, why they're still dying in Kosovo.
There's an athlete amongst us, disguised as a mother and a neighbor. And when most of us are still sleeping, she's running. She also takes the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and folic acid in Women's Ultra Mega Multivitamins made by General Nutrition Centers. Tomorrow, she'll get up and run some more. Women's Ultra Mega Multivitamins made exclusively by GNC. Live strong, live well.
Kids today
need to learn patience. My son knows when he does the dishes, he has to take his time. First, the pots and pans have to be set aside, then soaked, scrubbed, and carefully loaded in the dishwasher.
Introducing new Cascade Plus, packed with amazing power pre-treaters that blast away tough food problems you thought your dishwasher couldn't handle. Where other detergents fail, new Cascade Plus leaves incredible results.
Perfect.
New Cascade Plus. Leave the tough stuff to us. Remember that chlorine smell from your dishwasher? Now it's gone. Introducing Cascade Plus. It cleans great and leaves a crisp scent with no chlorine smell. New Cascade Plus. A fresh scent, a great clean.
At Boston Market, you can get the chicken America loves and the deal America wants. Now you can buy a whole chicken at Boston Market for only $5.99 and great side items starting at just 99 cents. So tonight, take home the chicken America loves only at Boston Market.
Of all the things we might put honey in, the best may be new Honey Cough. Introducing the first line of cough drops and cough syrup combining effective medicine with real honey to relieve even the worst coughs. New Honey Cough from the makers of Robitussin. Naturally.
I should have used Preparation H.
If you had, you wouldn't be suffering now. Preparation H helps stop itch and further irritation with a soothing layer of protection.
I should have used Preparation H.
Stops itch, stops irritation.
Hurricane Mitch is now described as a very dangerous storm, and it's getting stronger. Eastern Cuba is under a hurricane watch. Mitch's winds have now increased to 150 miles an hour. In the Pacific, Typhoon Babs, which killed more than 150 people in the Philippines, is now a tropical storm. Today, the storm brought torrential rains to Taiwan. U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright warned today that Yugoslavia's president, Slobodan Milosevic, has still not lived up to his agreement to pull his troops out of the province of Kosovo. He has until Tuesday. ABC's Richard Gisbert is in Kosovo.
In Kosovo, burying the dead can cost you your life. These Albanians were digging a grave this morning when repeated gunfire forced them to take cover. The Serbs are shooting from the same place as yesterday, he says. Yesterday, the shots killed an 11-year-old Albanian boy. His family says he died while chopping wood. Today, the boy's mother fainted as they carried him to be buried. I can't understand, one of his relatives said, how the world can allow our children to be massacred in front of our eyes. Back in the Serbian capital, Belgrade, NATO military commanders met once again with Yugoslav President Milosevic, pressing him to meet the latest NATO deadline by withdrawing most of his troops from Kosovo by Tuesday. Although some Serb tanks have pulled out this weekend, NATO now concedes the Serbs will likely fall short of full compliance on Tuesday, and the threat of airstrikes is likely to be extended.
And that's why I think on Tuesday, when we review this, we may well come to the conclusion that we cannot yet relax our guard, we cannot stand down the planes.
But if NATO allows Tuesday's deadline to slip, it would be the second time in 2 weeks the alliance has given President Milosevic more time. And for Kosovo's ethnic Albanians, who marked another grave today, that time can be measured in lives lost. Richard Gisbert, ABC News, Christina.
When we come back, the most deadly region in the United States. It's not where you may think.
What do I want? I want to know I'm headed in the right direction. I want to keep my options open. I do want to take care of my family. I want to give something back. I want to learn, find what's right for me, be ready for anything, make the right choices. I want to find the people who can get me there.
American Express Financial Advisors can help you decide what you want to do and how to get there.
I want to say I made a difference. I want to do more.
It's no mystery why millions of people have moved to the digital home entertainment of DirecTV. Because DirecTV gives them more movies, sports, and a variety of programming they just can't get from cable. So what are you looking at? If it's not DirecTV, see your retailer for a demo today.
We ease life's pressures.
We help make lives more memorable. We're the people of Pfizer. We develop medicines that make the world a better place. We help people love one another. We help keep families strong. We take care of best friends. We spend over $2 billion a year on research. That's why we believe we'll introduce more new medicines for more diseases than anyone else. At Pfizer, we're not just looking for cures for the future. We're going to find them. We know in our hearts the only thing incurable is our passion. Pfizer, life is our life's work.
In Louisiana, near Shreveport, a natural gas well is still burning, more than a day after an explosion that killed 6 workers. Firefighters need special equipment to cap the well. At this point, they can't even get close enough to retrieve the bodies. Popular State Senator Tommy Burks was remembered today in church services in Tennessee. Burks was shot to death this week. His political challenger, Byron Looper, who is still on the ballot, is charged with the murder. Tennessee is in the southern U.S., and FBI statistics show the South has the highest murder rate in the country. ABC's Anderson Cooper tried to find out why.
In rural Louisiana this July, a man named Ellery Clement was convicted of shooting and killing his wife and her alleged lover after what was said to be a long and very public affair.
I think deep down a lot of Southern men are thinking they would have done the same thing.
The South may be known for its warmth and hospitality, but crime statistics show another side. 43% of the murders in the United States occur in the 16 southern states. All but one, Delaware, have murder rates higher than the national average. Louisiana's is more than twice as high. Criminologists are trying to understand why.
It can't just be explained by poverty or by unemployment. It's not that simple.
It's culture.
It's culture.
Here in the South, violence is often not merely an accepted response, it's an expected response in many instances.
Sam Hyde, a Louisiana historian, is looking for the roots of what he calls a culture of violence in the South. After the Civil War, there was little faith in government, and people often took the law into their own hands to defend their honor. Hyde says today, personal honor is still a trigger for violence.
It's a fundamental motivating force here. It is so important that ultimately the consequences of one's actions become secondary to the fear of public and private humiliation.
Studies show the nature of murder in rural parts of the South is different than in other parts of the country. Here, murder's often personal. Outside the South, most murders happen during another crime, like a robbery. But in the South, murders tend to involve people who know each other.
Generally, if you get shot in the South, you know who shot you, and you know why they shot you.
But are Southerners really different from people in the rest of the country? In an experiment at the University of Michigan, a psychologist found that Southern male students, after being insulted, produced more testosterone and behaved more aggressively than Northerners, who tended to laugh it off.
Young men in the South are under enormous pressure to exert themselves physically and defend themselves if their sense of honor is violated.
Which brings us back to Southern courtesy. Maybe Southerners are more polite, at least in part, because it's dangerous not to be. Anderson Cooper, ABC News, Hammond, Louisiana.
Up next, they know how to use a computer. Now they're learning to better use a knife and fork.
For the 14 million women who worry about light to moderate bladder control, now there's new Double Protection Compose Panty and Pad system. The Compose Panty and Pad fit together for double protection. There's a super absorbent disposable pad, but the real difference is the separate washable panty. It gives you double protection with a quilted panel that won't let wetness through. So why worry? Get double protection with Double Protection Compose. Protection that goes beyond the pad.
When you have problems here, here, and here, Maximum Strength Help is here. From Osteo-Biflex, the #1 brand. New Maximum Strength Osteo-Biflex from Sundown. Long-term help to repair, rebuild, renew.
is here. Introducing the new Silverado. It's bigger. It's more powerful. It's the truck from Chevrolet.
Morning, guys. Know how much cereal you'd have to eat to get the vitamins in one bowl of Total?
Nice bowls.
Total has 100% of 10 vitamins and minerals.
We'll take the Total.
Total, one bowl, 100%.
Tonight, a Diane Sawyer interview with Oprah Winfrey about race, life, and facing the ghosts of the past. Watch 2020 tonight at 9, 8 Central.
With Jimmy Smits in only 4 more episodes, you don't want to miss this.
Oh, God. He can't stand up.
Better boy, Martinez!
Bobby, what's wrong?
All new Blue, ABC Tuesday.
Checking the box office this weekend, the #1 movie was Pleasantville, earning $9 million. Dropping to second place was Practical Magic. Ants was #3. Finally tonight, teaching table manners to the Silicon Valley crowd. Can you turn a Bill Gates into a Cary Grant? 2 women in California are trying. Here's ABC's Lisa Salters.
First of all, you don't batter the whole thing, and you don't batter it in midair.
It's a crash course in etiquette for computer geeks.
And gentlemen, we don't tuck it in our ties no matter what. So
high-tech workers in California's Silicon Valley may be masters of the mainframe.
You don't conduct an orchestra when you've got these things in your hands.
But put most of them in a fancy restaurant with a big business deal on the line.
If they sat down at a table and they had 4 forks on one side, they'd be lost.
That's why an unusual etiquette training course called The Workshop has become so trendy here in Silicon Valley, where simply being a computer whiz is no longer good enough.
There's lots of bright people out there. You have to show that you have more than that.
You cut and you bite.
The Workshop was founded 3 years ago by 2 businesswomen, and there's already a 2-month waiting list of companies ready to log on.
We hear horror stories about people dealing with large companies here, and the CEO will lean over and take a bite of somebody else's dessert. You just don't do things like that.
You also don't talk with your mouth full or rest your silverware on the table. All rules your mom probably taught you, rules that many computer geniuses seem to have forgotten.
I learned how to park my silverware. This is something that had escaped me.
The course teaches everything from how to set a formal table to how to pick an appropriate wine. A lot to download, perhaps, but it's information that could make or break a deal when wining and dining an important client.
We're making you more polished, more sophisticated. These things are important for your career.
After all, even in cyber world, presentation is everything.
And then you put your glass down again.
Lisa Salters, ABC News, San Jose, California.
And that's World News Tonight for this Sunday. Be sure to watch 2020 Sunday. And tomorrow on Good Morning America, 2 views on whether the U.S. should release convicted spy Jonathan Pollard, from his sister and from the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee. I'm Carol Simpson. For all of us at ABC News, have a good week and good night.
This week on World News Tonight, the fascination with space. John Glenn is going back. The country may be reaching for Mars.
On ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
The jury's verdict.
Guilty.
Could be too much for one lawyer.
You have to let go of it now.
You screwed up the most.
Is that what you think?
All new practice, ABC Tonight.
Every day, more people